Supporter power campaign. Today's information, it doesn't sort of broadcast, it flows. Organisations in the past related to the sports in this very kind of one-dimensional way. They would perhaps send out a quarterly newsletter, it would land on people's map, and it'd be out of date, the day it landed on their map. And there was no way in which those sports could really get themselves involved in the organisation and really be a part of what the organisation was trying to achieve. We're very kind of passive recipients of information. However, today, with new media and digital, those conversations can actually happen in real time, both with the organisation and with supporters itself. So organisations now need to put themselves at the heart of those conversations, both in digital and in the real world as well. So how do you do that? Well, first off, you need a good website. That's the key. That's the sort of foundation from how you can begin to communicate in this digital world. However, more than that, that's just one part of the picture. You need to be able to plant emphases on social media, on Facebook and Twitter, but also those all need to tie up with those offline events as well. So that all those channels of communication that you have and the opportunities you have to engage with your supporters and members can actually tie together as some sort of strategy. And that glue, that strategy of that glue needs to happen from the centre, from the organisation. And one way it's almost like you need the top down to sort of help enforce the bottom up so that people can actually get involved. And actually what we tend to see is organisations, it's actually about if they culturally engage with digital as a medium, if they can actually get the benefit from it. It's actually not about what tools you use or what the latest gimmick. It's actually about you as an organisation being able to understand that it's going to be a bit messy because your supporters are going to be out there and they're going to put their own spin on things, but actually the net benefit of your organisation is absolutely huge if you're willing to engage with these digital tools and bring them on, being a thread throughout your organisation, not sort of bolt on at the end. Every organisation has what we call a ladder of engagement. In the past, organisations really focused on those very, very, at the very top, those activists who would do out anything for them and go out of their way to do anything for them. And those sort of people at the very bottom, those kind of passive recipients, those people are sort of vaguely interested in the organisation. But there was almost like nothing you could do in between. You either had to do all or nothing, your sort of engagement with an organisation as a member or as a supporter. But now with digital tools, every level on that kind of engagement, no matter how much time and energy you're willing to give to an organisation, your supporter, as a supporter or as a member, you should be able to be serviced in a way that can actually help those organisational goals. So you need, and as an organisation, as a campaign, you need to begin to think about ways in which, at any level here in this ladder, you can actually engage people and those people can do something for you, of use to your organisation today. Because what you begin to do is actually find where they are on that ladder, and begin to engage them and actually say, well, this is where you are, this is what you've achieved together, this is the next step. And then you begin to build and motivate people and engage them and get them up that ladder to get more engaged with your organisation. But if they're only willing to do, share some content, do some videos, whatever, they should be still service because later down the track they could be your donors, they could be your activists. So it's important to think about every single level in this ladder. Moments matter in those for campaigns. The key moments, the big news stories, that's when you're at your peak, that's when you've got the opportunity to really engage with people. But actually, during the course of the calendar year, there's a whole series of moments, some of which you're kind of evangelicals, your activists, your real super activists, that are willing to engage with you, will be involved in. Some of those people are just a bit more passive, will be able to engage with you. But you need to think about those moments because those are the points which focuses on you and your organisation, and you can actually bring that to bear and leverage that support and interest in your organisation's outcomes and your objectives. So how do you turn that into a campaign? Well, I think there's three real sections to that. There's data capture, there's cultivation, and then there's activation. The data capture sounds a bit dry, to be honest, with data capture. But actually, it's absolutely vital that at the moment in which someone's interested in your campaign, you're on your website, attend an event, the moment when that interest is piqued, you can grab their contact details, their information, so you can begin to build a communication channel with them, you can begin to build a relationship with them. And then that moves you on to the next stage of the cultivation. That's where you tell the story of your organisation, the story of your campaign. So often I think we're kind of focused very much on the sort of stats of an organisation, or this is what we've done and that's what we've done. But actually we sort of don't tell the story of the organisation, what we're actually trying to achieve in the bigger picture to get people involved and invested in the organisation. And that's that cultivation process, because then that leads to activation and those real world outcomes be it donations, I've got a pound sign up there, but it's donations, it's lobbying your politicians, it's lobbying celebrities, it's getting involved in the real world and getting involved with people in your community to make a difference. Whatever that activation is, you need those parts before it, those data capture, cultivation, and then activation to actually make it happen for you. Driving users toward action. Well, there's kind of 3 questions I think you should be asking yourself when you're driving people towards action. First of all, what can your fans do for you today? If a whole load of people turned up to your website or turned up to your campaign HQ and wanted to do something for your organisation, what can they do for you today? Too often I go to websites and campaigns and it's not quite clear what they're actually trying to ask you to do. Even if you're interested and you're actually trying to get involved, the sort of the clarity of purpose there isn't there at all for you. So you need to be clear what you're actually trying to get people to do for you. What happens when they do it? When someone's taking action for your organisation, your campaign, they should be treated very differently to those people who haven't. Segmentation is the way to do it, but it's building that relationship in a different way and a level in which they engage with you and your organisation. And then thirdly, how do you then sustain that level of interest and that investment in your organisation? And that's actually kind of the tough bit because, at a moment, your campaign perhaps it hits the news or whatever, people are interested, engaged, perhaps want to do something for you. But actually, how do you sustain that over a period of time to actually invest in you and as an organisation and then actually have real change at the end of it? Because it takes time and it doesn't happen overnight. So what I wanted to do now is just talk a little bit about 3 examples of campaigns that we've seen out there. Because there's a lot of really interesting work that's happening and to kind of talk through what they're doing well and perhaps some lessons to be learned from them. So the It Gets Better project. It Gets Better started off as a YouTube video. It started off in response to a whole lot of kids in America, LGBT kids, committing suicide because they've been bullied at high school. Terry Savage, who's a blogger and journalist, had seen this in the news and thought there must be something that could be done here. And his idea was him and his partner just posted a video, okay, he was fairly widely read and seen, but posted a video and with the key message of it gets better. That was it. From that, a whole series of other people began to build on the back of that one video. Now there's been tens of thousands of videos posted from everyone across the globe, countries across the globe, from celebrities to politicians to whoever, just people who have been engaged with this idea and begun to build on the back of them. Now there's a website, you can go and you can engage, you can watch the videos, but just on the back of that one idea and that one YouTube video, it gets better was the theme, and build on that. And there's a very clear kind of call to action, tell your story, upload your video. So I'm going to play a little video that tells you a little bit more about the campaign. So that was an idea that turned into a YouTube video, that turned into a campaign that gave hope to kids all around the world. And that was just because people invested in digital, they got the idea, and then they got it out there. What I want to talk about the next campaign we've seen recently is the Royal College of Nursing. Very different organisation to It Gets Better project. An organisation that's been around for over 100 years, and members all around the country, and nurses. And they were facing in 2010 a new political situation where their NHS budgets were getting reduced for the first time in about a decade. And those budgets, they not only have a duty to themselves as nurses, but also to their patients. And they felt there must be something that could be done than just slashing budgets. So they felt that there needed to be a more smart response to that. And their response to that was the Frontline First campaign, where they asked their members to tell them about areas in which there were cuts to services, there was waste in the system, but also where innovation could save money and also deliver better patient care. And those were 3 things on their web platform they were asking their members to get involved in telling. And the response to that was huge. Over 2,000 examples of cuts. And those information, and that information is very hard to get. If I was to get all you as probably fantastic researchers to go through all these documents, because it's hidden away, it's in NHS trusts minutes where the cuts are happening, it's in decisions taken in health boards. It's very difficult to find that information, even as a series of researchers. But if you as a nurse see that instead of 8 nurses being on your ward, there's now 6 of you, that's a cut, and it's difficult to kind of quantify that as researchers. So they needed to use their members to get that information and get that out there. So over 2,000 examples of cuts have been found and then publicised across and generated huge amount of media coverage for the Royal College of Nursing to really try and explode that myth that NHS health spending had been ring-fenced. But also, as I said, they need to be cognizant of there's a new kind of political reality, and it's not good enough to just say no cuts and no cuts to budgets. So they wanted to deliver better patient care, but for less money. So they rooted out waste in the system as well. So there's over 1,600 examples of waste in the system, but also nursing innovation as well. Over 400 examples of nursing innovations came from nursing frontline first, and now getting spread across the NHS all around the country to improve patient care but save money. And what I wanted to show is a little video about what there's a whole lot of information and knowledge that was out there in the organisation, but using digital tools was the only way in which you could bring that into the centre and actually then begin to spread out again across the whole of the NHS, such a big and huge organisation. So the third one, and I was sort of slithering whether to talk about it, but I feel like I have to. I sort of planned to do the Support Our Power campaigns prior to sort of this all kicking off, and I sort of thought, well, it was kind of fine until Friday. But what I thought I would do was, because obviously I hate using the word viral, but this is a video that did go viral and probably one of the few that can actually be claimed to go such. But what I thought would be pick out kind of 3 things we could learn from this, and perhaps leave the rest of the sort of narrative around it aside, because that's a whole other day's worth of talks, I would imagine. So the 3 things I think probably you can learn from it. One is participation. There were a number of ways in which this website, this video, could actually allow you to participate with them in their cause. Be it organised in your communities, and there's a big series of events that are happening. Tweet at famous celebrities, tweet at politicians. There was a whole series of ways in which you can interact with this campaign and actually do something. Once you'd watched the video and got engaged and got enthused to actually take on the project further. The second is that integration with the offline and online. There's a whole sort of series of events that are now happening across that have been organised by this campaign. So you can take that enthusiasm and interest and actually take it into the real world. And I think that's the key. Is you can't just these digital stuff. The digital campaigns can't sort of just happen online. And because when you get the real benefits, when you take that enthusiasm you can generate, you get grab online and take it offline and get people to participate in their communities. And second, the sort of celebration aspect of people that have taken part. They've got wristbands you can buy, and each of them have a code which you can then go on and you can engage with people that are like-minded and tell and say, well, look, I've done this too, and you can have a conversation with it. And that celebration of achievement is absolutely vital as well, because I think too often people take action, be it online or off, and they don't actually see what that ends up doing for the organisation or for the campaign. So I think those are the 3 lessons we can learn. There's a whole lot we can, but we'll leave it at that. So 5 things I think from my talk that I hope you'll be able to pick up if you're thinking about digital campaigns for your organisations, or if you're getting involved in campaigns locally. First of all, data capture, very dry but absolutely vital. Your database and those people that you actually engage with are absolutely vital in scaling your organisation. Every time you can take that opportunity to grab someone's contact details, begin that conversation with them, is absolutely vital. Segmentation, treat people like people. So if someone's taking action for you, make sure that they get a different email from the people who haven't. Making sure you're building up that speak to people as you would. Just because you're doing it through email or Facebook or Twitter, speak to people as you would, if you met them in a campaign institute. The narrative, tell a story of the organisation, absolutely vital to tell people, and get them the bigger picture of, your small cog in this bigger wheel, where we're going with this campaign, so that people understand the narrative and understand where you're looking to go with the campaign. Involvement, so always have opportunities for supporters to get involved. Actions, no matter how small, you can begin, although they can't be made work and kind of pointless, no matter how small, you can then go engaged and begin to build a series of momentum for your campaign. And then transparency of the organisation is absolutely vital as well. What you're achieving and what you're not getting right. Be honest with your failures as well as your successes. Share them with your supporters, because they appreciate them as much as they appreciate the successes. Because then when the successes come, then you can join them together as an organisation. So make sure you're constantly feeding back what your efforts are achieving and what you're doing, so that it's not just going into the kind of black hole of digital actions. That's me. Thanks very much.